Hello and welcome to the Modes Explained 2. In this lesson I'm going to introduce you to the chord scale. I'm going to show you the chords that belong to each mode. I'm going to tell you why the chords are the way they are. And then finally I'm going to show you how you can use this new knowledge to make musically correct chord progressions.
This is the chord scale. It's basically a chart which tells you the chords of the modes. There are 7 modes in the major scale, and each mode has a chord assigned to it. You can play through the scale one note at a time, and you can also play through the scale one chord at a time. On the first note of the major scale, you would construct a major chord. On the second, you would construct a minor chord. On the third, you would construct another minor chord, and so on through the chord scale.
The chords that I just played were all in the key of C major because I was obeying the chord scale. Now the enlightening thing about the modes is that you could pick a couple of these chords and just loop them, and you would essentially have a musically correct chord progression.
Here I filled in the C major chord scale for you. Pause the video and have a go at playing through the chords until you find a simple progression you like. I'll go into further detail when making chord progressions at the end of the video, but first, why are these chords the way they are? Why is the chord for the Ionian mode major? Why is the chord for the Phrygian mode minor? And what's with that weird diminished chord for the Locrian mode? Well, it's all to do with the intervals of each mode. Let's take a look at why a major chord suits the Ionian mode. A basic chord must have a root, a third, and a fifth. By studying the intervals of a scale or mode, we can determine what the appropriate chord is. In the case of the Ionian mode, the third interval is 2 whole tones higher than the root note. This is known as a major third. Also note that the fifth is unaltered. It isn't flattened or sharpened. It is a perfect fifth. These 3 notes, C, E, and G, are the only notes in a standard major bar chord. 2 more examples. Why is the chord for E Phrygian in E minor? Well, with this particular mode, the third interval is only 1.5 tones higher than the root note. The third has been flattened. This is known as a minor third. The fifth, however, is once again unchanged. When these 3 notes, E, G, and B, are laid out on the fretboard, we get that classic minor bar chord. Finally, this is how you find the chord for the weird mode, the Locrian. The third is once again 1.5 tones higher than the root note, making it a minor third. As for the fifth, well, it appears to have been flattened a semitone. The combination of a root, minor third, and flat 5 is called a diminished chord. When you lay out these 3 notes, B, D, and F, on the fretboard, you can get a diminished bar chord shaped like this. So that's why the chords of the chord scale are the way they are. Now, let's get back to making musically correct chord progressions. So let's say you wanted to make a progression in G major. You'll need 2 things. You'll need to know the notes of the G major scale, and you'll need the chord scale chart. It's then as simple as filling in the chord scale chart with those notes, in order of course, from G to F sharp. You can then read off the basic chords that are available to you in the key of G major. Choose a few, loop them, and you'll have a musically correct chord progression. Now for the final example. What if you wanted to make a minor progression instead of a major progression, say, in the key of B minor? Well, that's no problem. So long as you keep the modes running along in the correct order, you can visually rearrange the chord scale chart to make the Aeolian mode, also known as the minor scale, the first in the chart. It's then followed by the Locrian, then the Ionian, and so on it goes. Then, again, it's as simple as putting the notes of the scale into the chart and then reading off the chords available to you.
It also doesn't stop there. You can try making chord progressions in the other modes as well. For instance, why not try making a chord progression in C Phrygian? Just remember to add in the C Phrygian chord, the C minor, to truly emphasize the mode. In the next lesson, I'll be showing you how to find more complex chords within the modes, and then we can go on to make even more complicated and customized chord progressions. Anyway, subscribe if you haven't already, and I really hope this helped people. Be sure to share it with your guitar playing friends, as I always say, and if you have comments or questions, please leave them below and I'll answer them as soon as I can.